Hi there, welcome back, and I hope you had a really happy new year and holiday pause. Finally able to bring you some new Vagrein content. This one is from a participant session where we talk about some really interesting stuff, such as tarot reading and how that can sometimes throw you off course, how to find what really works for you in terms of raising your vibration, and much, much more. Go ahead and enjoy, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel so that we can continue bringing you more content like this.
The first topic that I'd like your insight, please, relates to my health. I had some health challenges, which, although they are not serious to my understanding, they are pretty uncomfortable. I have pains on the left side of my face. I thought the pain derived from a tooth that I actually had removed, but the pain has not subsided. And it spreads on the upper side up to my eye and to my head, and then it also goes down, sometimes even down to my toes, my foot. I don't know if this it relates to nerves. There doesn't appear to be something wrong with my head, but I'm not sure if it comes from my neck, or if it's a tooth, or if it's another autoimmune, because there are autoimmune illnesses in my family. Can you please share any advice with regard to this?
Yes, so indeed it is related to the nervous system from what we can scan. And again, we only are able to give information on a physical level that is information that you are already either suspecting, and the probabilities have reduced to such amount that it is likely that if you were to investigate further, this would be the result that you would then choose for your storyline. However, it is a subtle aspect of what could be considered either a compressed, pinched, or pressured nerve system. We cannot say at this point whether or not it is what is considered to be a autoimmune related aspect, but what we can say is that it is more so connected with a systemic source than with a physical, or shall we say, structural predicament. This is why at times you are feeling it to be more active, and at times you are feeling it to be less active. It is related directly to the way your entire system is processing stressors, thoughts, external factors, more so than, say, a bone that has a growth upon it or something along those lines. We can also say that autoimmune in general is the simple confusion of a system in the first place. So they are not as chronic as is to be believed in scientific studies at this now moment. They are reversible. So this is good news for you, even if it were to eventually be diagnosed as something that does currently have that particular labeling. In your case, it is related to directly on an energetic level, your energetic nervous system as well, because you are feeling yourself to be quite frazzled quite often. And the more frazzled you find yourself to be, the more your body is communicating with you, hey, this is a great opportunity to focus back on us. So it does cause pain to stop you in your tracks, to make you focus at least on something that is yours, as opposed to something that is external. You will notice that when things get very busy in your life, or when they get very complicated, or they get very taxing or trying, this does act up more than in moments where there is pause and relief. However, we are also seeing that there have not been very many moments where there is pause and relief. So it is feeling to you as if it is a daily experience and a chronic experiencing. That is because your life has been acting in a daily experience and in a chronic way in such a manner that you are reacting to that does not give you much pause. The pause must be taken as opposed to be expected or waited for upon the universe. So what this pain is also indicating for you is that it is time for you to take that pause, even if means to be in some level of an aggressive way. Are you in a position where you can take some pause?
Yes. Thank you for this. I believe I can take a pause. I plan to go back to and spend more time there.
Yes.
Is
there even the ability to take a pause that does not involve your visiting of others?
Unfortunately, my parents are very old. They are 93 and 90. And I visit quite often to see them. And also, I felt I needed to visit my children. So I had to come to London to see him as well.
Yes, we recall. And if you notice, you did have some level of energetic frustration around the fact that you feel obliged to do this visit or to interact in this way with this particular subject. Is there not?
Yes, that's true.
So it is not at all in a space of you have come to visit them from a place of joy.
No, not really.
What is the information you know about which actions that will take that will lead you to feeling good and which actions that you will take that will lead you to not feeling as well?
The differentiating factor, I think, has been fear and not joy.
Yes.
So I think this is what I need to change, to start doing things that please me and where I feel secure without losing my center first.
Yes. And aiming more so for actions that lead you to joy or that come from a joyous decision-making place in your life. When is the last action that you can recall that you took that was joyous?
I can't remember.
Well, then it is your homework to absolutely put yourself in a position where, even if it is a small action, where you are putting that joy first because you are simply rusty and out of practice. It is not that it's so far down deep in the surface or you have lost it. It is that when, in the same way, if you are returning to the gym after some long period of time, your muscles will hurt when you try to lift a weight, that you are simply out of tune, out of practice, needing a bit of experiencing so as to get back to your true nature, back to your true self, to go after those little joys that bring to you some measure of, oh, I remember this, so as to then work your way up to taking action that is of a more you level. Because that word joy can be substituted with you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for that. The next topic, I actually noted down 3 topics that I wanted to discuss with you, please.
Yes.
And the first one was health. And then we started talking about joy and myself, which is it's related to the other 2. Basically, the fact that I feel stuck. And before the channeling, Jessie and I discussed the fact that it's like that I was a caterpillar and I am to become a butterfly. And I'm in the space in between where everything is like in a liquid form and I'm not sure how it's going to materialize in the end. So I'm in a space where there is a lot of transformation, a lot of change, but at the same time, a lot of fear. And I feel stuck because of the fear, I do not have the courage to choose, to decide on various things in many aspects of my life, because I'm afraid I'm going to make the wrong decision, even with regard to my career. Currently, I'm not working. And because of this fear, I'm going to link the fact of fear and being stuck to the third topic that I wanted to discuss, which is tarot reading. I found myself in this tarot reader's house, and I ended up having my tarot reading. And because of my fear, I feel like I need to be in control. so that I can direct the decisions in my life. And yet, with the tarot reader, she told me a couple of things that brought even more fear in my life, because she mentioned a couple of deaths coming up soon in my family. And although one is expected, the other one is totally unexpected. And I didn't even want to think about it. Now it's the first time I'm vocalizing what she told me.
Yes.
And I don't know what to think about it. And at the same time, even though I feel I want to control myself and I want to control the decisions in my life, I want to control my future, yet seeking advice like that made me, it's been now 2 weeks, made me feel, maybe 3 weeks, so lost and uncomfortable. There are days I just want to give up.
Yes. Well, we can understand how that would be a disempowering experience for you. Let us start with the beginning of what you were sharing, in that you do have that caterpillar nature of being in a cocoon. Please note that a cocoon is created to protect yourself during this transition. Know that you are protected during this transition. That is step one. Step two, in the same way as the caterpillar is in there and whatever magic occurring is already programmed into their DNA to occur, you too are already exactly where you are meant to be. This dissolution of the old self is necessary and was always in the cards for you, so as to give you this now new opportunity to reinvent yourself. In this new now opportunity to reinvent yourself, it might seem like, oh no, there is much responsibility in this. I can make the wrong decision. Well, guess what? It is not exactly the human self that makes the decisions in the first place. You said, I'm having trouble making decisions. I feel like I am stuck because I will make the wrong decision. That is not entirely the case now, is it? You have very clear indication that decisions are not made by you, but through you. Your desires indicate your decisions. Your wants and hopes and dreams for your future indicates your decisions. Your past regrets or preoccupations indicate your decisions for the future. And they are already being made through you. What your action is either the only decision that you can ultimately ever make with your free will is go along with the flow of what the higher self is already telling and indicating to you, taking on the faith that is required to take that risk, or not. And the or not is your free will and your prerogative if you choose to have that experience. But in your particular case, the only option or the only experience you will have by not going along with the higher self is the continued experience of this feeling of stuckness. There really is nowhere else for you to go but then to release and surrender into who you actually are. You are one of these beings who has been on a spiritual path for some time, who has been on a growth path for some time, and who is now ready to step into your full self. It is less of a crossroads than you can imagine. It is a continue to stand still or go along with what is being called through you. So this too can be seen as, oh no, I have no power. Ultimately, that power is yours, in that it is your higher self who is leading you down this path. Or you can say, well, forget all this. Forget life as I used to live it. I am simply going to be me and see what happens finally in this experiencing. With regards to your tarot reader friend, it is one of the reasons why many of your wisdom traditions say that prophecies are not quite such a good idea, or future readings are not a good idea. It is not because they are accurate and you're not meant to know your future and you're meant to walk around in blind unknowing. It is because the future is only ever written in this now moment. And in the case of beings who can, quote, foretell the future or have a modality, yes, of course, in their modalities, there are the potential futures of what arise, and you as an energetic being do project to the cards or the reader or the psychic or the clairvoyant or whatever it might be one of the potential futures that is most likely in that moment that you are having that reading to that particular experiencing and that collaboration with that particular psychic or tarot card reader or crystal master or whatever it might be. However, that does not override the fact that your reality is being created by your own moment to moment choosing, not choosing of the outcome, but choosing of who you are in this now and what serves you most. So perhaps, yes, 3 weeks ago in that reading, the most clear outcome for that particular timeline that you were on in that exact moment, and again, it does fluctuate from every exact moment to every next exact moment, was that you would have these familiar losses, family losses. However, you are in a flexible state of flux in which there are always infinite possible realities that can unfold for you and with you and through you. The reason, again, back to why your wisdom traditions say do not go to tarot readers or do not predict the future or do not do this or do not do that is because there have been many a case where having that prediction influences then all of your thoughts and feelings after that experience, does it not?
You're right, it does.
And in doing so, does solidify those realities as coming into your field more likely than they would have done had you not had that experience. If you are the type of person that can go, okay, I am simply going to disregard this information and look at my feelings around it, then that can be the way that that did serve you. In that you were indicated a future that was not to your preference. You had feelings arise of, actually, I do value my relationships with these beings, and I actually do really want to have good connection with them. So instead of fretting about whether or not they are going to be leaving this particular incarnation in the future moment, I am going to take this information of the fact that I value them, or I love them, or I want to spend more time with them, or whatever it might be, and take on board the lesson of that, whether or not it means that there is some acceleration towards our parting of physical ways. Or you can fret and fuss, did the cards really mean X, Y, and Z? We would always say that you can take the good and let go of the rest. There is no reason for you to put your faith into any moment that has occurred in your life because no one moment has any more power than any other moment. You also did go to the bathroom that day. And that could have also been read as some sort of prediction for the rest of your life if you so chose to give it that power. Of course, that is not your habitual nature. But indeed, there are people who do predict things in other ways, do they not? They read tea leaves, or they see the way the weather is changing, the way the trees are doing whatever it is they are doing. You can predict your entire future by deciding to predict your entire future. We would say that the more wise choice is to create your future by living it in this now. The truth of that reading was that you were stimulated into a knowing of, I love these people and want to spend as much time in proper harmonic relationship with them as is possible for whatever amount of time is left for any of us. Because you do know that there is a finite amount of time for these relationships. And so that is the beautiful jewel of wisdom that you can hold on to from that experience having occurred. Allow yourself to be light about it. There's no reason to be scared because anyways, as you know, anytime someone does choose to leave their incarnation, it is exactly the right moment for them. What is important for each and every one of you as you are relational beings is to actually even hold on to that idea of mortality so as to be able to appreciate and love those moments as you do get to share them with those people. It allows you to let go of the petty small things and disagreements in a far easier way when you remember that nothing is in its permanent state forever and that everything, when it does come to its return to source, is doing so in its perfect timing.
Thank you. I tried to become more spiritual or to find my spirituality in many ways. I don't know which is the best way for me. I'm not one to meditate, look at the candles or do yoga and all these things. And yet it's something that interests me, fascinates me. and I don't know what would be the best way for me. If I could have your insight, please.
Yes.
Thank you, because I actually think that this will fight to some extent, or control to some extent, my fears.
We would say for you, and it might not be a satisfactory answer, but it will be a practical answer, is that this is a perfect avenue for you to begin to explore in that joyfulness. Because for you, and for everyone, ultimately, the answer lies in what does feel good to you. And it can be, yes, meditation. That is not for everyone. It can be, yes, movements such as yoga or breathing. It can be having a massage. It can be cooking a wonderful meal for no reason other than to cook it.
Wow.
So for you, it is time to really indulge in the thing that feels most, and we will use this word, holy to you, because that will be the key. You are not necessarily going to be able to clear your minds completely, but you may find some activity that engrosses you so deeply that even when your mind is not clear or is busy, it is not impacting you on a direct level. So again, that might be more active than what most people would say it is. It might be some level of crafting, or it might be walking in nature. It might be sitting in the sun. What feels good to you now that you have touched upon?
Oh, thank you. Oh, massage sounded delightful.
Yes, and that is in many ways, but we would suggest you experiment, have as many massages as you need to up until you find the practitioner that does feel good to you. Experiment with finding the person that is transmitting that energy back and forth with you. It is a shared communication that makes you feel as if you are held. And you will find that that too can be a very deep meditative practice, allowing yourself to treat that as medicine for yourself will give you the permission slip to indulge in it and to have more joy more often. Look at this as your first homework of finding the joy in your day-to-day experience and allow yourself to dive into it as much as you possibly can.
Wow, thank you so much. That is really practical.
Yes.
And easier than I thought.
Yes, and it is something to look forward to too.
Yes.
If you can insert within your week several things that feel to you the way that massage feels to you, then you will find if you throw in 3 or 4 of those things, then your question of, well, where am I going? You will have more answers whispered to you louder and louder, and then begin to have the faith that you can take the necessary action steps towards facilitating that path, that plan, that project that your higher self already has you heading on.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
We thank you, and we leave you with the light and the love of 1,000 suns. I hope you enjoyed that participant session and that it had some value for you. If it did, do leave me a comment and let me know what resonated the most for you. I love responding to comments and I will get back to you. If you're interested in asking Vagrein your questions in person, we have some amazing events coming up, both online and in person over the next year. So head over to www.jpherman.com/events right away to see what's on the calendar and what's coming up next. I hope to be able to meet you in real life and catch up with you again soon. Go ahead and watch one of these videos next.